Okay, so for the longest time, the Rainbow Six Siege community has been talking about one of the biggest flaws with the rank system being that MMR is not determined by personal performance. And while it is frustrating to go 13-4 and still lose because two of your teammates dropped a donut, determining ranked based off the number of bodies you drop would not be a step in the right direction. I asked you guys to let me know what were the biggest problems that you see in Rainbow Six Siege, and there were many things that were brought up that I will probably discuss at a later video, but one thing I kept seeing was the rank system in Rainbow Six Siege. Believe me, I know it's frustrating to go in and drop 15 bodies and still lose because your teammates don't have the mental capacity to play well or communicate effectively, and they certainly cannot do both at the same time. And it's frustrating to lose the same amount of MMR regardless if you got 15 kills or 0 kills. But the problem with having the rank system based off how many deaths, kills, and assists you have is that Rainbow Six Siege is a game that's not about getting kills. It is about winning. Whether it be through the means of fragging out or defusing the bomb, it is all about winning. So while yes, it's great to have a high kill game, you don't win for getting the most kills. That would just be a team deathmatch. We also need to take into account that Rainbow Six Siege is a team-oriented game. Even if you think you're doing so much better than everyone else on your team and you still lose, the other team is doing better than you. Because while you're doing all the work on your team and your other teammates can't even get a kill, the people on the other team are communicating and doing whatever is necessary to get the win. So they're better than you, they should gain the MMR, and you should lose that MMR. But for a second, let's imagine what it would be like if MMR was based solely on personal performance, to where the more kills and assists you got, the more MMR you received. So, for example, say that you're defending and you're in a 2v1 scenario with 30 seconds left. If your teammate knows that he will get more MMR if he gets that kill instead of letting you get that kill, he's not going to play time or play the objective. He is going to go aggro and go for the kill. And if he loses that fight, you're in a 1v1. So your chances of winning that round go down drastically because someone just wanted to get that kill because the number of kills you get affects your MMR. Now let's flip it and look at how attacking would play out if it was all about getting kills and if kills was the biggest factor in determining MMR. If that was the case, nobody would play support operators. Nobody would touch Thatcher, Thermite, Hibana, Monty, Dokkaebi, or any other support operator because why would they want to play an operator that has a lower fragging potential? And while yes, winning the round is still the ultimate goal, if you know that you'll rank up more if you get more kills, then the entire team composition is just going to consist of Ashe, Sophia, Sledge, Ace, and IQ pretty much every round. And where this really causes a problem is for the players who love to play the game and they really want to play the game for the win and they love to take on the role of, say, the support player. Because the support player will generally drop maybe 5 kills in a match because they're the ones that are droning out, they're the ones that are watching for flanks, they're the ones that are getting the walls open, and all the boring stuff that allows the team to win. And it's already hard enough to get people to play the support role when solo queuing, and if they have an incentive to not play the support role, then that changes the game drastically. No longer is the game about working together and using operator utility as a cohesive unit to get inside the bomb site and plant. So if the game shifts to being less about getting the win and more about getting your kills and assists, then the game starts to look like Call of Duty and less like Rainbow Six Siege. And so I say all of this, and you may be thinking that I'm just against the idea of personal performance determining rank, and that's not the case at all. I am very much against ranked being determined by the game, looking at the scoreboard at the end of the match, and then determining how much MMR is gained or lost based on where players are on the scoreboard and looking at kills, deaths, and assists. So, what would Senator's ideal ranking system look like? Well, first of all, winning should always be the most important thing. I don't care if you drop 15 kills and still lose, it's all about the win. If you don't win, it doesn't matter. So, if you lose, you should still lose MMR. However, how much MMR is lost should be determined by personal performance, but not by looking at the scoreboard, but a system that looks at how you are fulfilling the roles of your selected operator. So, as a Sledge or a Buck, are you going above or below and getting kills? As a Pulse, are your teammates getting kills off of your scans? As a Thatcher, are walls getting opened after you use your UMP? As a Vigil, did your ability cloak the drone of the person that you would go on to kill? And so already you already get points for doing some of these things. And I think using your operator in a way that puts your team in a position to win should be taken into consideration when determining how much MMR you win or lose. And yes, you could say the same thing for when it comes to getting kills, and I kind of agree. It kind of sounds like I'm backtracking on what I stated earlier, but some operators are just there to frag out, so yes, kills and assists should maybe be taken into consideration when determining the amount of MMR that is won or lost. However, that should only take place if the game also takes into account how you use the operators and if you're using them for their intended purpose. So as of right now, the only thing that is taken into consideration when determining whether or not you win or lose MMR is whether or not you win the match. And the amount of MMR won or lost is not determined by your performance, but by the MMR of the other team and the number of matches that you have played this season. So in my ideal system, this is still in place. If you win, you gain MMR. If you lose MMR. That should be a constant. However, the game should mitigate how much MMR is lost by looking at how you use your operators and determining whether or not you use them in a way that helped your team. So as a Jaeger, you get points for stopping a projectile. I think you get like 20 points. The game should recognize that as you doing your specific job. As a Thatcher, whenever you disable electronics, you get points, and the system should recognize that you're doing your job as a Thatcher. And so the number of times throughout the match that you gain points for doing your specific job, to a degree, should determine how much MMR is lost or gained. The ranking system should also take into consideration whether or not you can clutch a round. If you win a 1v3, how much MMR you win or lose should reflect that. If you're a defender and you win post-plant, that should also be taken into consideration. Rainbow Six Siege is a team-based game, and you should always gain MMR for winning and lose MMR for losing, regardless of how well you did. But we need a smarter system that is able to look at whether or not players are playing for the win and doing their specific job. Is Thatcher using his MPs effectively? Is Twitch disabling gadgets? Is Sledge playing from above? The game should recognize whether or not players are doing that and then mitigate how much MMR is gained or lost by their performance. And I think most can agree that we do need a smarter ranking system. But whenever it's talked about, people always mention how they get so many kills and still lose, and they shouldn't lose MMR because of that. And while the number of kills you get should play a very tiny role in determining how much MMR is lost or gained, instead of focusing on what the scoreboard says, we need a system that mitigates MMR based off how players are using their operators and whether or not they are playing as a cohesive unit, the way that this game is supposed to be played. So what do you think? Is the ranking system fine the way it is, or should personal performance be taken into account when determining how much MMR is lost or gained? And if so, should the number of kills you get play a large role, or should there be a system in place that looks at how you use your selected operators and not the number of bodies that you dropped? Let me know down below. And so that's about it for today. Remember to like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to support the channel, check out my affiliate sponsor, Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy makes a highly caffeinated, great tasting energy drink designed for gamers that increases your reaction time, keeps you focused, and will help you play better. I drink it every day and I feel amazing. You can visit Rogue Energy's website, link down below in the description, and you can use code SENATOR at checkout for a 10% discount on your purchase. I recommend you get the pink lemonade flavor. That is my favorite. Anyways, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. I am the Senator, and as always, have a good one.